You're going to be shocked by this story, not because it's rare, but because it's happening to far more young people than most realize. In less than 2 years, a young person with a stable income, no reckless lifestyle, and no risky investments ended up filing for personal bankruptcy. The cause was not long-term unemployment, not a medical emergency, not a failed business. It was credit card debt. We'll call this person Alex. Alex is 24 years old, living in the United States, working a full-time office job. After taxes, Alex earns about $3,200 per month, not wealthy, but financially functional. Alex didn't start with bad financial habits. There was no massive student loan balance, no long-term consumer loans. Alex simply had 3 credit cards. That sounds normal. The first card was opened during college, a $2,000 limit, an interest rate above 20%. The goal was simple: build credit. At first, Alex used the card carefully. Small purchases, basic living expenses, always planning to pay it off at the end of the month. The problem is that plans don't always survive reality. Some months, spending ran higher than expected: a short trip, an unplanned purchase, a few expenses that didn't fit the budget. Alex looked at the statement and noticed the minimum payment wasn't very high, just a few dozen dollars. It didn't feel dangerous. That was the first moment things quietly went off track. Minimum payments create a false sense of control. You feel like you're managing the debt. But in reality, you're paying for the privilege of staying in debt. Credit card interest doesn't work the way many people assume. 22% annually doesn't mean a one-time cost. It's divided, compounded, and charged on top of itself. When Alex owed around $5,000 and paid $150 per month, most of that payment didn't reduce the principal. It went to interest. The balance barely moved. Stress started to build. Not dramatic financial panic, but constant mental pressure. A number always sitting in the back of the mind, emails from the bank waiting to be opened, payment reminders that never stop. To balance cash flow, Alex opened a second credit card, a higher limit, a similar interest rate. The intention sounded reasonable: consolidate spending and regain control. But reality followed a different path. Alex started using the new card to cover payments on the old one. Not fully. Just enough to get by. That's the first sign of debt spiral behavior, when debt is no longer used to buy things, but to maintain itself. Later, a third card entered the picture. This one was for emergencies, a psychological safety net. 3 cards, 3 limits, 3 high interest rates. Total debt started growing faster than Alex realized. The most dangerous thing about credit card debt isn't the initial balance, it's the speed. High interest rates cause debt to grow exponentially when it isn't controlled, and the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to escape. After about 12 months, Alex's total credit card debt approached $18,000, but the biggest damage wasn't financial. Alex started losing sleep, constant anxiety, a persistent feeling of falling behind. Financial stress leads to poor financial decisions. Alex began avoiding the problem, avoiding statements, avoiding calculations. This is where many young adults get stuck, not because they don't know there's a problem, but because they no longer have the mental energy to face it. Then a small disruption happened. Alex lost the job for 2 months. There was no emergency fund, no cash buffer. The minimum payments that once felt manageable became impossible. After just a few late payments, Alex's credit score collapsed. Penalty rates increased, fees increased, pressure intensified. Eventually, Alex had no realistic option left but to file for personal bankruptcy, not because Alex lived extravagantly, but because Alex didn't fully understand how dangerous credit card interest really is. This story isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to explain how the debt system actually works. Credit cards are not inherently bad, but they are designed to benefit the issuer, not the user. High interest rates exist because they generate massive profits. Minimum payments exist because they keep you paying for years. When you only pay the minimum, you're optimizing returns for the bank, not for yourself. Debt spirals don't begin with stupid decisions. They begin with short-term reasonable choices. 1 minimum payment, 1 balance transfer, 1 delay, and if you don't stop early, the system won't stop for you. If you use credit cards, there are 4 non-negotiable rules. First, never use a credit card for any expense you cannot fully pay off within the same billing cycle. If you don't have the cash, you can't afford it. Second, never use one credit card to pay another. That's not a solution. It's postponement at a higher cost. Third, always know the exact interest rate on every card you own. If you don't know the number, you're playing a game without knowing the rules. Fourth, if you cannot pay in full, stop using the card immediately. Cutting off new debt is the first step toward regaining control. If you're already trapped in credit card debt, there is still a way out. Step 1 is to stop creating new debt. This matters more than any strategy. Step 2 is to list every card, every balance, every interest rate, and every due date. You can't fix what you refuse to look at. Step 3 is to prioritize paying down the card with the highest interest rate first. Every dollar there reduces damage the fastest. Step 4 is to build a small emergency fund. It doesn't need to be large. Even $500 can prevent a return to the spiral during unexpected events. Recovery isn't fast, it isn't comfortable, but it is possible. Most importantly, you need to change how you see credit cards. A credit card is not your money. It's borrowed money with expensive terms. Financial freedom doesn't come from having high limits. It comes from not needing to use them. If you don't control credit cards will control you. And the most expensive financial lessons rarely come from big mistakes. They come from small decisions repeated over time. How many credit cards do you currently have? Comment the number below. Money Made exists to help you understand money before money hurts you.